evening and welcome back to the Rory Talks Football channel, your daily Arsenal news updates, debates and my opinions. If you are new to the channel, please do subscribe. We're now on the way to 12,200 subscribers. And if you could click the like button, of course, I would be incredibly grateful. And welcome back to a match preview. The first match preview in a long time. And it is good to be back. Arsenal versus Wolves in 2 days' time. I am buzzing for it. There is no stream tomorrow, which is why we're doing it today. The next stream will be on Saturday. It'll be Saturday evening. Obviously, that'll be after the game. Depending on how quickly I can get home, get other content out, and then go live, I'll let you know. But we'll be live on Saturday evening. There's loads of you here. And I have to apologise. The minor cough that I had last night has developed into quite an annoying cough. So I'm coughing all the time. So, I apologise. It's annoying me as much as it might annoy you. Anyway, Lord Ferguson of Aberdeen, Ethan Udall, Anu Brata, Jakob Pekka. Thumbnail is fire. We love to see it. Oslo Guna, top player, Vivi Vlad, Layla, Gabe, George Christodoulou, Carter, Joachim, Woodsy, Emilio Yoyoyoy, Ross Lawman, Case Stewart, Leeds Gunner, and many, many more. It is good to see you. How's the cinnamon? It was the last thing I needed today. I'll be honest with you. The last thing I needed to do today was inhale cinnamon. Genuinely, absolutely atrocious. But there we go. The game is the game, and the wheel decided that I was doing the cinnamon challenge. So anyway, there's plenty to talk about. We'll, of course, talk about Eddie Nketiah, Mikel Merino, and then we'll get into the preview itself. I doubt the cinnamon punishment helped your cough. No, it certainly did not. It certainly did not. But look, let's get into the news first of all, and then we'll go into the preview itself. This morning, we were getting our hopes up. Bournemouth, Crystal Palace, a bidding war for Eddie Nketiah. No, absolutely not. Fabrizio Romano this morning. Bournemouth agree deal to sign Brazilian striker Evanilson from Porto. Here we go. Deal in place, a package worth 47 million euros for the Brazilian forward to be the replacement of Dominic Solanke. Porto also have a 10% sell-on clause. So, yeah, Bournemouth out of the race for Eddie Nketiah. Absolutely, categorically, Nketiah to Bournemouth is off because they've signed Evanilson instead. And Sami Mokbel followed that up. And this is the slither of hope that we have. Sami Mokbel followed it up. He said, Bournemouth are set to drop their interest in Arsenal striker Eddie Nketiah, provided that Evanilson does complete his move from Porto. There is other Premier League interest in Eddie Nketiah. So it might not be over. But the issue is, right, and I think this is a bigger issue because I actually got, I got quite a lot of, not hate, but when I said that it was a mistake not to sell Nketiah to Marseille, and then obviously it turned out Bournemouth were interested, a lot of people had a go at me. And, you know, maybe rightly or wrongly, the issue was it was never guaranteed that he was going to go to Bournemouth. Bournemouth hadn't even made an offer. So there was an offer there from Marseille. And people say, you know, well, we've got a valuation for Nketiah, so we have to stick to it. And I just disagree with that. I think sometimes you can realise that the valuation for Nketiah might not be correct. And Evanilson is the perfect example of that. You know, when we talk about why Eddie Nketiah should be worth in excess of 30 million, we say, well, he's Premier League proven. Evanilson's not Premier League proven because it doesn't matter. The quality of the player is the quality of the player. And actually, I think there's a way you can look at it where, as much as people say Eddie Nketiah is Premier League proven, right? Is he Premier League proven or is he Premier League experienced? And I think there's a difference there because he's played nearly 120 Premier League games. Fair amount of them off the bench. But is he Premier League proven? Because in those near 120 games, he scored 19 goals and got 5 assists. And so I would argue that whilst he is Premier League experienced, I'm not sure he's Premier League proven. And for example, if you are a Bournemouth or a Palace or whoever, you know, a kind of bottom half team that's looking to try and get into the top half of the table, and you're going to go and spend 30 million quid, that player is going to be a starting player for you. Eddie Nketiah has not proven that he can start, you know, 30 to 38 Premier League games in a season and return 15 to 20 goal contributions at a minimum. And that's what you'd be looking for. If you were a Palace or a Bournemouth, that's what you'd be looking for. A striker that will play consistently throughout the season and will return. And Eddie Nketiah hasn't proven that he can do that. Some would take it a step further. I would not take it this far, but I have seen some people say it. Some would take it a step further and say, actually, Eddie Nketiah has proven that he's not good enough for the highest level. He's proven that by in terms of what he's done for Arsenal. So, yeah, I just feel like we overestimated how much we could sell him for. And that is why Bournemouth have gone for an Evan-Nilsson. What we have left is hopefully Crystal Palace. But that's it. And that, and then you say, okay, how does this affect the Merino move? Because we said yesterday, Merino's deal kind of relies on us moving one of the big players on. And if it's not going to be Eddie Nketiah, excuse me, Jesus, who is it going to be? So yeah, I don't know. It's a sticky one. It is a sticky one, but it's just frustrating. I think that's it. It's mainly just frustrating. Being a subscriber for a year now, during the winter, these streams were the only highlight of my day. Love what you do. Jax, I appreciate it. Thank you very, very much. Don't forget what Eddie did for Arsenal in 22-23. I'm not. This is the thing, right? You have to... I feel like people can't separate our valuation of Eddie Nketiah and everyone else's valuation of Eddie Nketiah. Like, I appreciate what Eddie Nketiah did for us. As a Hale Ender, I love him. I wish him all the best in the future. But you can't deny, everyone knew that Eddie Nketiah was available for sale all summer, and no one has come in with even close to what we're asking for. And if they have spoken to us, they've ended up going and finding an alternative, whether it was Marseille with Eli Wahi, whether it was now Bournemouth with Evan-Nilsson. Like, a player's value is what the market decides it is, not what you decide it is, you know? I meant about the people who say he's not a Prem player. Oh, yeah, fair enough. No, he is a Prem player. He is. He is a solid Premier League player. He is a... if they didn't get Evan-Nilsson, they would have come for Nketiah. And I think he'd have gone to Bournemouth and done well, right? I think he would have gone to Bournemouth and done well. But they didn't want to pay what we wanted for him. And they thought that going and getting Evan-Nilsson for a lot more money, by the way, 47 million euros. I think the actual deal itself is 37 million euros plus 10 in add-ons and a 10% sell-on clause for Porto. It's a lot of money. It's kind of hard for him to prove himself when he hadn't started 10 games in a row in his career. He is still bang average, except that first bid. I think he's bang average. I don't think he is bang average, but you're right. It has been hard for him. But equally, he did have a fair... He did have a fair period of time where he could have proven himself when Jesus was injured. And I don't think he did quite enough. I think that's fair to say. My issue, bottom half teams don't spend more than 30 million if the player doesn't start. Exactly. So Eddie Nketiah has to go and start for them. Tentego, good to see you. But yeah, look, that's where we're at. That's where we're at. So we'll wait and see if Crystal Palace do come in for him. I mean, Sammy Mokbel didn't specifically say Crystal Palace. He just said there is other Premier League interest in him. So we'll see. We will see. We do have to question the logic in offering Eddie and Reece 100 grand a week. Yeah, we do. We do. I saw someone say it today, right? Someone showed the numbers in terms of players that realistically aren't going to have much to do with us this season. It's like Ramsdale's on 120 a week. Nketiah and Reece Nelson are on 100 a week. Tierney's on 110 a week. Who else was there? I think there was one more. But you add it up, and just from that handful of players, you're talking about like 30 million quid this season in salary to players that just aren't really going to play. So there you go. It's tough. Any news about his wage demands? Not everyone can give more than 100k a week. Well, given the fact that we don't know exactly what his wage demands are, but given the fact that he agreed personal terms with Marseille, and I would imagine that Bournemouth would be able to pay whatever Marseille could pay, I actually don't think that wage demands will be a problem for him. I don't think they will. Edu should have sold Nketiah to Marseille. Why keep him and not play him? Well, they thought... The reason that they didn't sell him to Marseille was because they genuinely believed that a Premier League club would come in and would offer more. And they were close to being right. But Bournemouth in the end didn't come in and offer more. And they ended up pivoting and going for for Evanilson. So Rory might as well get Nketiah for the watch-alongs on Tifo. Bet he'll have better numbers there. Wow. That's you didn't need to do him like that. You didn't need to do him like that. Jesus is on a lot too. He needs to prove it this season. Yeah, Jesus is on a lot, but that's fine. I think Jesus will play a lot of football this season if he can stay fit. But yeah, he is on a lot. He is on a lot. I totally understand why we gave Reece and Eddie 100k a week, given they were going to leave on a free, and that would have majorly impacted transfers in the past 2 years, i.e. Jesus and Havertz. But would it? If we'd let them go on a free, we've not sold them now. So what difference would it have made to signing Jesus and Havertz? I don't know. Anyway, on to Mikel Merino. There's not been a lot on Mikel Merino today from any of the English journalists, but Marta Gonzalo, who is a Sociedad-based journalist, said everything points towards Merino not being called up for Sociedad's opening game versus Rayo Vallecano this Sunday. Arsenal are still 10 million euros short of the valuation, but talks continue. And if all goes smoothly, a deal will be done before Sociedad face Vallecano at the weekend. So, yeah, it's that's coming from Sociedad. Supposedly, Arsenal, yeah. Well, Merino's not going to play for Sociedad this weekend, so they're clearly still anticipating him leaving. Did you see Frimpong with an Arsenal shirt? I did, yeah. There's pictures of Jeremy Frimpong wearing an Arsenal shirt. Don't know if it means anything. Maybe he's just a fan. Lots of players are fans of Arsenal these days. Merino is a deadline day signing. The player wants us. We don't need to pay more to get a squad player. Yeah, hopefully. I mean, I'd rather do it before deadline day if possible, but it doesn't matter too much either way. Did you see United Bruno announcement was the exact same as ours for Ben White, with one-word description from players and staff, but gets nowhere near the hate that White got? I did see that. Yeah, I did see that. Especially considering it was like there were so many United fans that were ripping that video that we did for Ben White as well. And then they love it when it's Bruno. It's embarrassing, but unsurprising. So there we go. Anyway, that is basically... Oh, the only other bit of news, Chelsea are reportedly... willing to accept in the region of £28 million for Noni Madueke. And Arsenal might be interested. So what do you think about that? What would you say to that? Noni Madueke, 28 mil. Yes or no? Because I actually think I might be in the minority. I think I would take him. I think I would take Noni Madueke. I think he can be not saved, but there are elements of his game that I really like. No, they want 60 mil. They don't want 60 mil. We're not selling him for 28 mil. Maybe not. That's what I read anyway. That's what. If they value him at 60 mil, I wouldn't. 60 million quid for Madueke. Are we mental? 28 mil, I was thinking, it's a bit of a gamble. 60 million for Noni Madueke. What are we talking about here? What source was it? I can't remember. I didn't even write it down. I just saw it on Twitter in passing. But we do not need any more Chelsea rejects. Yeah, but Havertz was a Chelsea reject, and I think that's gone quite well. And Jorginho, to an extent. I wouldn't take him as he wouldn't be a player long term. I'd rather we loan to buy and see how he does. Yeah, fair. I'd rather have Eddie. Yeah, but we need a winger. If we don't sign anyone else and he's the only choice, I'd do it then. Yeah, that's fair. That is fair. Rory, Saka's minutes for Arsenal and England is too high. We're walking down a dangerous path. Wayne Rooney played too much football from a young age and his body broke down. I agree. I completely agree. This is why I think this is, one of the major reasons that I think a Saka backup is so important. Because I do think we're going to run Saka into the ground. But we don't seem to be doing anything about it. So, Nelson is miles better than Madueke. Maybe. Madueke's left-footed, though, which I think is big. Could we put Eddie and Reece on loan to sell them next summer? I think they're both too old to be loaned out now. The problem with those two, they're on 100 grand a week, right? So no one that we would loan them to would want to pay 100 grand a week. So we'd still be paying their wages, or at least some of their wages. And secondly, both of them are beyond the age of wanting to go out on loan. You can't be 25 and going out on loan. I don't think anyway. Maresca really likes Madueke anyway. Fair enough. I don't know. I just saw it on Twitter, and I saw someone in the chat mentioning it as well. So I saw online that Arteta is content with the squad he has. Do you know what, right? I don't have an issue with this not. If we get Merino, I do have an issue with this not buying anyone else because I still think it was clear to us all that we needed an additional attacker this window. I don't. Sorry. I don't necessarily have a problem with us in terms of what we've bought in. I don't necessarily think that we've got, I think the squad is capable of competing for the league again next season. My issue is sales. My issue is the sales because we're just kicking the can down the road. We're going to get to the point where next summer, again, we need to sell like 10 players and we're obviously not going to do that. So my issue is more in the fact that it's not been a productive window because we've really just not done much in general. Like, fair enough. If you want to say there's no marquee players on the market that are good or worth the gamble, so we're not going to go in and bring in a big player. We're just going to bring in, a couple of good squad additions in Calafiori and Merino, and that's all we're going to do. No problem, right? No problem. But then use that time to do a bit of housekeeping. Use that time to sell the Nketiahs and the Reece Nelsons and the Ramsdales and that's I think that's the thing that I find frustrating is it just feels like the window has been a little bit wasted. What happened with Dan Bentley and Joan Garcia? Well, I don't think we need them unless we get rid of Aaron Ramsdale. I don't think Dan Bentley's going to happen now anyway. And then Joan Garcia will only happen if we bring in Ramsdale, if we get rid of Ramsdale. So I think the plan is for Tommy Setford to be the third choice keeper, I think. So we signed Raya on loan and he was 27. Yeah, we did, but that wasn't quite the same. Why no stream tomorrow? I'm going out to do something for the Fulham United game, so I won't be at home tomorrow evening, unfortunately. People are forgetting we bought Raya for 27 million this summer, so if we sign Merino, that would have spent nearly 90 million euros this summer. Yeah, but that's not a lot of money. 90 million euros. Bear in mind, Brighton are on track to have spent 180 million quid this summer. West Ham have spent about 150. 90 million euros in a summer where we sold Smith Rowe for 30 odd million pure profit. 90 million euros is nothing. So we sold Smith Rowe, the guy with arguably the least value with injury issues. I think it's not that bad. No, selling Smith Rowe was good, but he's the only permanent sale we've made, other than a couple of academy players. So Brighton have gone a bit mad this window. Yeah, they have. How's FPL looking? I don't know. I've changed it about 4 billion times and I'm still not happy with it. I've decided to sack Haaland off now. I've sacked off Haaland. I've sacked off Salah. I've gone for an all-round good squad instead. So we'll see how it goes. Anyway, it's time for the preview. It's time for the Arsenal versus Wolves preview. Let's get into it. Now, frustratingly, obviously, normally I would actually do this stream tomorrow. So I would have the team news, the actual team news from Arteta and stuff. We'd have the press conference reaction from Arteta. Unfortunately, I can't stream tomorrow, so we're doing it today. But in terms of the Arsenal team news, we know Jurriën Timber is back in full training. I think he might make the bench. I don't think he will. I don't think he'll start. Fabio Vieira is still not in training. So Fabio Vieira is definitely not going to be in the squad, I would imagine. And other than that, Tomiyasu is injured and everyone else is fit. Now, excuse me. In terms of what to expect from Wolves, they've had a pretty mixed pre-season. 3-1 loss against Palace, followed by a 3-0 win against Leipzig, followed by a 1-0 loss against Vallecano. So it's pretty mixed. Now, if we look at their squad, their lineup, this is wild. This 3-5-1-1. Defensively, I'm not sure who's actually out here, but this team on paper, right, is poor. That is a poor team on paper. Now, that was a couple of games ago. If we go to their most recent game, which was against Vallecano, so you would imagine. Oh, don't tell me it hasn't got the lineup. It hasn't got the lineup. FOTMob's a scam. FOTMob's a scam. It hasn't got the. Why hasn't it got the lineup? Right. I'm gonna have to find the lineup separately. What an absolute scam of a website. Right, we're on the Wolves. We're on the Wolves' actual thing. Okay, so they had Sarr, Doherty, Mosquera, Totti, Aït-Nouri, Lamina, João Gomez, Sarabia, another Gomez, Hwang, and Strand Larsen. Is Matheus Cunha injured? Matheus Cunha is injured. Okay, I didn't realize that. So actually, Podence is injured, and Cunha is injured, and they don't have Pedro Neto anymore. I think this is a beatable team. They've lost Max Kilman to West Ham. I think this is a very beatable team, actually. Truthfully, I wonder if it's got the. Well, it didn't even have the lineup for this. FOTMob's a major scam. FOTMob is a major scam. I really think MLS and Nwaneri will be on the bench. Really want them to experience that opening day atmosphere. I reckon 4-0 Arsenal and Nwaneri to play. Well, let's think about it, right? Let's think about Arsenal's squad. Clearly, we're not getting much about Wolves' squad, but let's think about the Arsenal squad. So, I think, obviously, in terms of injuries, Yuri and Timber, I think, will be back. They're the three that we mentioned. Oh, Nelson Semedo is also suspended for this game. Semedo is suspended for the game. That is ideal. That is ideal. It's free and I still feel scammed. Yeah, me too. In terms of Arsenal's team, I think, look, the lineup that we had against Lyon, realistically, I think this will be our starting lineup. I think Raya, White, Saliba, Gabriel, Zinchenko, Ødegaard, Partey, Rice, Saka, Havertz, Martinelli. I think that will be the team that starts against Wolves. The only questionable one, in my opinion, is maybe Trossard for Martinelli. My FOTMob is showing the lineups for the Wolves games. Weird. Well, I'm getting even more scammed then. What an absolute disgrace. Yeah, Trossard for Martinelli is the only one that... Unless Arteta decides to play Rice, Ødegaard, Havertz in midfield and Jesus up top. Which Vlad seems to think he'll do. My feeling is that generally managers try and play their final preseason game with a starting lineup that they go for in the actual opening game of the season. We'll see. We'll see, right? What I actually Jesus Christ. What I actually think is interesting is who makes the bench. And this, look, comes back to the conversations that we've already had about who should be sold and whatnot. But who makes the bench? We get how many players do you get on the bench? 9 or no, 8. How many players make a bench? I feel like I've done this before. How many people make a bench? 9. It's 9. It's 9. So, Ramsdale will make the bench as the goalkeeper. We then have... Now, let's assume White and Zinchenko are the fullbacks, right? Let's assume it's White and Zinchenko. Yeah, lots of you putting 9 in the chat. We've got it. We've got it. There are 2 defenders. Or there are generally 2 defenders on the bench in pretty much every squad we ever put together. Who's that going to be? Because you've got Kivior, Timber, Calafiori. So who makes the bench? And more importantly, he doesn't. No, Setford won't be there. Setford won't be on the bench. It'll be Ramsdale. We only so people forget, in pre-season, we can have as many people on the bench as we want, pretty much. In a game, you're capped at 9 players on the bench. And we always do the same kind of structure. It's 1 goalkeeper, it's 2 defenders. So basically 3 for the back 5. And then it's 3 midfielders and 3 attackers, right? That's pretty much how we always do it. So, yeah, Tomiyasu is injured. Arteta said it'll be for weeks. So who misses out of Calafiori, Timber, and Kivior? I think it might be Timber, because we might give him a little bit more rest. Then, into the midfield. Now, let's assume that we're going with this midfield of Ødegaard, Partey, and Rice. Okay, just for argument's sake, let's say that that's our midfield. So then, midfielders to play. Well, bear in mind, Smith Rowe's gone. Fabio Vieira is injured. That's going to leave us with Jorginho. So then you say Ethan Nwaneri. So that's 2. But you've still got an extra space. Right? Ross has the bench. Rambo, Timber, Calafiori, Miles Lewis-Skelly, Jorginho, Nwaneri, Nelson Martinelli, Eddie. That doesn't include... Oh, no, you've got Martinelli on the bench instead of Trossard. Maybe. So then you can throw in Miles Lewis-Skelly, right? So there is room for Nwaneri and Miles Lewis-Skelly on the bench. And then you've got your front 3. Okay. Definitely. Again, let's just assume for argument's sake Martinelli starts, then it'll be Trossard. If Trossard starts, it'll be Martinelli. So Martinelli / Trossard, one of them. In this lineup, Gabriel Jesus is another one. And then you've got either Eddie or Reece Nelson. So basically, you're going to have either Eddie or, in my opinion, you're going to either have Eddie or Reece Nelson miss out, and you're going to have either Timber, Calafiori, or... Yeah, I said Jesus. So I'm assuming Havertz is starting. So on the bench, you have Jesus. The attackers, you have Jesus, Trossard / Martinelli, and probably Reece Nelson. But the point is already there. You're looking at potentially having... You could, for example, right? If Timber was at full fitness, Timber would be in the squad, and you'd probably say Kivior isn't. So Kivior drops out, and then you've got Eddie or Reece Nelson dropping out. So immediately we're at the point where you're talking about having senior players not even in the squad, and this is where I think you look at it and you say sales need to be made. Looking at the bench, it's not looking good. I don't think it's bad. If you look at our bench, right, it will be similar to this, basically. It will be very similar to this. These are the players that came on. But if you add, there's 8 players here, right? There's 8 players here. Add Ramsdale as the 9th. This could very easily be the bench. I don't think that's it. And that is with exactly Vlad. That's without Merino. But it does include having both Miles Lewis-Skelly and Nwaneri in the squad. So our midfield options are a bit limited, yeah. Our midfield options are very limited. Truthfully. Now, you can kind of cover it a little bit because, of course, you can move Havertz into midfield and count him as an extra midfielder. But realistically, so far this summer, we've lost Smith Rowe, El Neni, Sambi Lokonga, and we've not bought any midfielders in. Too many defenders. Yeah. And then you've got Tomiyasu to come back from injury as well. So, who's getting dropped after Merino comes in? Realistically, probably Miles Lewis-Skelly. If you're looking at this, right, and you're bringing Merino in, Miles Lewis-Skelly was counting as a midfielder within this. If you assume it's the normal 2 defenders, 3 midfielders, and 3 attackers, Miles Lewis-Skelly was counting as a midfielder. So it'd probably be him. Compared to Man City, our bench is far off it. I think you'd actually be surprised this season. Man City's bench doesn't actually look that strong, I don't think. Hopefully Timber can play in midfield. Well, he can, yeah. What happens when Merino and Vieira are both available? Good question. I'll tell you what happens, actually. I'll tell you what happens. Merino and Vieira both come in. Vieira or Nwaneri count as a right wing backup. And Reece Nelson drops out. That's what happens. Youth players being used more, and all of the fans are hating on no youth and now demanding major high-profile signings. I agree with that. I do agree with that. I don't mind. I'm happy for Miles Lewis-Skelly and Nwaneri to be on the bench. I don't mind that at all. Don't forget, if one of the first 11 or subs we've named gets injured, then it makes space. Yeah, of course, but we've already got Tomiyasu out injured. We're already assuming with this that Timber's kind of missing out on the squad because he's injured. Fabio Vieira is also injured. So that's... You've got this bench already, and that's including the fact that 3 first-team players are currently injured. There's not really much room, And then we bring in Merino. So that's an additional one. So then you've got 4 senior players not making a matchday squad if we don't make more sales. No, Timber isn't injured. I know Timber isn't injured, but he was injured. He's coming back from injury. And so we're saying you leave him out of this first squad to make sure that he's fully fit when he comes back. Didn't know Fabio Vieira was injured. How long? Not long. He's got like a minor hip injury. It was like a knock to his hip. He's expected to be back very quickly. So yeah. RIP KT. Yeah, I didn't even include Tierney and all of that, but of course technically Kieran Tierney is still a senior Arsenal player on 110 grand a week. Like, as it stands, with 2 weeks left in the window, Kieran Tierney will be earning 110 grand a week next season from Arsenal. Did you see Now AFC tweet saying if Partey was fit, we would have won the league last year and the year before? We'd have been closer. We'd have been close. I don't think it's unreasonable to say if Partey had stayed fit for 2 seasons straight, we probably would have won a league. God forbid Ødegaard gets injured. Could you see Arteta playing Havertz in the right 8 as it's a big responsibility on Nwaneri to take Ødegaard's place? Yeah, I saw this today. A lot of people were talking about, obviously, if Saka gets injured, what the backup for that is. I think Ødegaard as well, if you look at it. Ødegaard, backup Fabio Vieira or Nwaneri. I think that's weak. If you had to do it for a long period of time, I think that's weak. Partey was fit in the first season. Yeah, it was just a shame that in Partey's first season, we were nowhere near as good as a team as we are now. That was just unfortunate. Would Nwaneri go before Nelson if one of them's getting dropped? I would drop Nelson before I drop Nwaneri now, to be honest. If I'm honest, I would drop him. Rory, have you seen the new virus similar to Corona with these weird circles? Yeah, what is it? Monkeypox or something? I might have it, to be honest. This could be the end. So, I don't know. Anyway, so this, I genuinely think this will be the starting lineup. Might be wrong. Could put Trossard in. We know what the bench is going to be. In terms of a score prediction. Now, I really do think, Wolves look a bit weak. Their pre-season hasn't been great. I'm going to go 4-1 to Arsenal. I'm going 4-1 to Arsenal. Let me know your score predictions in the chat. I'm going 4-1. Ross says 4-0. Jelly Belly says 6-1. Jakub says 3-0. Tom says 4-0. Vivi Vlad says 4-0. Ultra Pro Gamer says 3-0. 3-1 according to Max. 2-0 to Sportcat. 3-0 Jack Sachs. 3-0 Hannah. 3-0 Will is God. 3-2 according to Arist. 3-0, 3-1, 4-0, 3-0, 3-1, 4-0, 3-0, 2-0, 5-0, 2-1, 2-0, 3-1, 3-2, 3-1. So pretty much, I mean, everyone's going for an Arsenal win, and most people are going for fairly comfortable Arsenal wins. So Yeah. Arsenal lose 1-0 opening day. Absolute fucking carnage on the timeline. No, we will not be there. We will not be there. Carter says 2-0. I'll be happy with 4-1, 3-1. To be honest, just get a win on the board. Just get a win on the board. I can see us conceding a stupid goal on the break or something because we're at home and that's what we do at home. But yeah, I'm far less worried about Zinchenko starting at left back now that they don't have Pedro Neto. I think that is far less of a concern. Jesus would be the backup for Saka. Surely, if he gets an injury. Yeah, Jesus will be the backup for Saka. I just don't think he's the perfect backup for Saka because he's right-footed and not very quick. Saliba, yes. So, yeah, if we, assuming that Saliba starts against Wolves and if we win, Saliba will be the fastest Arsenal player ever to hit 50 wins. He'd have hit 50 wins in 66 games, which is unbelievable if he does it. To be fair, we all thought we'd smack Forest first game of the season. It was 2-1 and got close towards the end of the game. That is true. That is true. Although I do think we've looked a lot better this preseason than we did last preseason. I think we're looking pretty good. We've got, we've pretty much got a full strength starting lineup. So yeah, last season we started quite. Sorry, Jesus Christ. Last season we started quite poorly. We were playing around a bit. Remember, like Gabriel wasn't playing. We had Partey at right back. It was a bit of a mess. Who was the other fastest gunner to 50? I actually don't know. I don't know who. I don't know who currently holds the fastest to 50 wins. If you had to choose, Nwaneri becomes a winger, so Saka doesn't retire at 26, or he becomes a midfielder in the Ødegaard vein. Why not both? Why not both? Nwaneri, I see him more as like almost like a Bernardo Silva, and not. I think he's faster and more physical than Bernardo Silva, but in that mold, in the same way that Bernardo Silva can play off the right and in midfield, I think Nwaneri will be able to do the same. I still have nightmares of Cedric right back and Vieira right wing against Lyon last summer. Oh my God. Thank God I will never see Cedric and Fabio Vieira on the same right wing again. So when everyone is fit, we will have roughly 350k of wages, not even in the squad. Yeah. 350k a week of wages that won't even be making matchday squads when everyone is fit. And I think that's a bit of a problem. It's just a waste. That's a marquee player. That's Osman's wages, not even in the squad, right? So I think that is a waste. But look, it is what it is. We just need to sell them. Was it Monreal? Was it really Monreal? That's impressive. You good, bro? I'll be all right. I've just got this annoying cough. You know when you have those coughs and it's just like, it's just constant. It's just absolutely constant. Anyway, it is time for Guess the Gooner. I'm going to give you 5 clues about an ex or current Arsenal player, and you have to guess who that player is in the chat. First person to get it right wins the immense pride and respect of the Rory Talks Football community. So get your fingers on your keyboards because we are starting now. Clue number 1, this player scored 1 goal in 23 games for Arsenal. Clue number 1, this player scored 1 goal in 23 games for Arsenal. Clue number 2, they joined Arsenal in 2018. Clue number 2, they joined Arsenal in 2018. Clue number 3, they won 7 Serie A titles. Clue number 3, they won 7 Serie A titles. Clue number 4, they have 108 appearances for Switzerland. Clue number 4, they have 108 appearances for Switzerland. And clue number 5, they retired in 2020. Clue number 5, they retired in 2020. Who is the player? I'm pretty sure I actually saw the first person to get it as well, which is sensational. Where is it? There it is. The winner is Joachim. The winner is Joachim. It was indeed Stefan Lichtsteiner. And Joachim, I don't know if I'm pronouncing that correctly, was the first person to get it right. So congratulations. Ethan Udall was second. Ross Lawman was third. Mr. Abdu was fourth. And Adam was fifth. There we go. There we go. Yeah, he won a load at he won a load at Juve. Yeah, I did mention him in a video the other day. I did. There we go. VAR check complete. Goal given to Joaquin. You'll love to see it. Lichtsteiner, one of the worst players ever to play at the Emirates. Damn. Savage. Semi-automated offside. Goal given. No, Abdu, you weren't second. Sorry, mate. Anyway, we don't do VAR checks for anyone that didn't win. If you realistically, right? I know I do the top 5. I know I do like first, second, third, fourth, fifth. If you didn't win, you lost. So we don't do VAR checks for anything other than first, unfortunately. Rory has played at the Emirates though, and I was better than Lichtsteiner and Cedric. Thank you very much. I will not take that slander. I was better than both of them. Thank you very much. It is time for Guess the Non-Gooner. I'm going to give you the entire career path of a player who does not and has not played for Arsenal, and you have to guess who that player is in the chat. First person to get it right wins the immense pride and respect of the Rory Talks Football community, but not as much respect as Joaquin currently has. This player started their career at the Leicester City Youth Academy. They started their career at Leicester City. They went to Liverpool permanently. They went to Birmingham. They went to Wigan Athletic. They went to Aston Villa. They then moved to Newcastle Jets. And they moved to Bolton. Who is the player? Leicester, Liverpool, Birmingham, Wigan, Villa, Newcastle Jets, Bolton. I'm actually going to die. I might die. Right, who got it first? There you go. Now you're first, Mr. Abdu. Mr. Abdu got it first. There you go. Now you're first. Mr. Abdu wins it. Second was... are we giving that to Sportcat? Was he trying to put Heskey? Yeah, he was. Hexy. Good old Hexy. Ethan Udall was third. Mr. was fourth. And Umair was fifth. So there you go. Happy days. Mr. Abdu gets his win. Alongside Joaquin. And there we go. Right. If you're not already following, please do click that follow button. If you haven't liked the video already, please click the like button. As I said, we won't be live tomorrow, but we'll be live after the game at some point on Saturday evening. We've also got a live watch along of Chelsea versus Man City on Sunday over on Tifo. The link to that is down in the description. Anything else? Twitch tonight, I'll be honest, it's 50-50 again because I really am just coughing a ridiculous amount. And I feel like I'm making it worse by still trying to do as much content as I am. So I'll be honest, Twitch, I'll say it's a no unless I say it's a yes. But it's looking like a no. And I can only apologize for that. But what can you do? I mean, I might die. So there's that. But yeah, other than that, I hope you all have a fantastic evening. The Premier League is back tomorrow. We have made it. We have made it to the promised land. So yeah, if you're not already following, click follow button. That's not even... That's from a different type of content. That's literally from my challenge videos. I'm just reeling off ridiculous spiel. Have a good evening and good night. Goodbye.